Welcome to No Free Lunch, Africa's freshest business and tech podcast with me, your host, Greg Stewart. Our discussion today is all about small businesses and how they can effectively grow or use data to grow their business effectively. My guest today is a UNISA graduate with a Bachelor of Science in Life Sciences. And at just 29, she's a dynamo founder and CEO of data and IT consulting company Saturated, who's quietly shaping the future of African SMEs in tech, blending data science, business, and social innovation to solve real-world problems while sharing practical insights that can help other small businesses grow and thrive. Mamello Mofokeng is a member of a new generation of women leading innovation, and she's eager to share tips and strategies that other SMEs can apply to scale their business, embrace technology, and create meaningful impact. Welcome to No Free Lunch, Mamello.
Thanks for having me, Greg. So happy to be here.
It's really great to have you as a guest today. And I must say, I'm blown away by young entrepreneurs such as yourself who have just really got on and got things happening. And I great respect for that. So let's talk a bit about your start and your journey to this point. You're a Krugersdorp born and Vaal raised entrepreneur. You've got a background in physiology and biochemistry, not in tech at all. So talk to us about your quite amazing journey from a small town childhood to becoming one of South Africa's brightest young tech leaders.
Well, as you mentioned, I was actually born in Krugersdorp, and my parents had a business in Parys in the Free State. So we moved from Krugersdorp to Van der Bijl Park in the Vaal, and then also eventually moved closer to the business in Parys. So that's where I kind of got my roots from, like coming from Joburg and then going into smaller towns, also kind of assisted me to be exposed to different things. I wasn't doing any tech at all. Fortunately, at my school, they did have IT as a subject, and for some reason I took it. So I did kind of have a base background of how to code, but it wasn't fundamentally something that I thought would be in my career path. I was always just looking at biological studies. Then I went to do my undergrad, got to a point where I couldn't continue my studies because of finances. So I kind of had to take a step back and see what I could do. I fortunately got into a program, a data science program, and we had to do a lot of tests. Fortunately, I did have that fundamental base knowledge of coding, which really assisted me. And then through the program, it was a 1-year program, and it was a very, business-driven program. It was all about developing solutions, learning the fundamentals to build solutions. So it was practical. And I think that's what then exposed me, because I also had a business background from my childhood with my parents, working from a family business, just the discipline of things. And then moving around as well. So I saw it, I was like, okay, here's my gap. I have a science background, but I see how it works with IT, because it's all systems, it's all processes, it's all moving from here to here. Everything makes sense. There's nothing to really guess. It's either it works or doesn't work. And I really enjoyed the program, graduated from the program, and started developing different types of solutions. So that's when Saturated was founded, and we just hit the ground running from there. Then COVID hit, which was a really big boom for us, because now we could practically go and test everything we were thinking of, because clients had no other choice but to go digital to optimize their technical solutions, their systems, delivering. They had to go offline, but online, and completely online. So that's what really helped push the business, because we got to engage with a lot of clients. We got to test different things. And once the market started opening it again, things just got better and better from there.
Initially start off just doing consulting work, or did you develop products that you were actually taking to market?
So we actually did both. So at first we realized, what's really tricky about products is revenue. They take time to generate revenue and have consistency. So that's when we became very service based and more developing products for the client. So it was product based for the client. And then internal products that we had developed ourselves internally took much longer to actually grow versus that of a client, which, I mean, it was good because we were always able to keep the lights on, and that's why forced us to take the business seriously as a business and feed the business so that we can also grow and develop our own products.
So you talk a lot about we and us. I'm assuming you had other partners alongside you that actually helped you develop this.
Yes, I do have a co-founder. He's still with me. And yeah, we genuinely started the business together and we've been growing from there.
And that's quite a big step to take, isn't it? To start something from scratch, start something from brand new, develop your own products, develop your own markets. Talk to us a bit about some of the lessons that you've learned along the way and how you would encourage other people who are starting their business to approach that.
I think the first lesson was to start and fail fast. And that's what COVID assisted us with because you didn't have a choice. So we really started, and even prior to COVID, we had that energy of, okay, let's go to the market, let's test this, let's get the feedback and keep on growing the business. And even seeing what types of services are relevant to the market. Because sometimes you have an idea of something and you go to your audience and you see that, no, they're actually looking for something similar but different to them and not how you're selling it and how you're positioning yourself. Also, persevering. Businesses, it's a marriage. It really takes work. You commit to it. It's going to fight with you. You're going to fight with it back. You're going to lose money. You're going to make money. It's a whole roller coaster ride. But if you're in it and you're committed to it, you really get to bear the fruits and see growth, see opportunities, be on podcasts like this, engage with people, because business is very network driven. As you grow in it and you master your product and you master your solution, the real growth does often come from getting better and the network that you are around, because they also help you get better.
So that's a great lesson, and that whole failing fast, learn quickly, scale quickly, and not necessarily being perfect before you do that. So you often have to have something, it's workable, but it's not necessarily perfect, maybe not even, the full thing that you had in your mind initially, but you've got to go with it and you've got to actually learn with it and quickly fail, quickly learn, quickly adapt, quickly change products, improve products, and eventually have something that's scalable and marketable and finds acceptance in the market, because that's also very, very important. So amongst all of that stuff that you've learned in this journey, give us some practical advice for SMEs looking to leverage technology to grow their business. How would you see that? What would you say to them? What do they need to be doing? We've seen great adoption of all sorts of technologies now, AI coming into effect. Yeah. Whether it's effective in businesses or not, it's certainly something that's happening. What is your best advice you can give to SMEs in particular looking to scale their business using technology?
I think it's important for them to expose themselves to the opportunities that are there, because there are so many tools, there are so many platforms. You have to be testing and you will find a solution that works for you. Getting mentorship is very important. That's why I speak of certain programs, opportunities, good ones, having a good mentor to kind of guide you and steer you in the right direction. Your ears need to be on the tech ground now, because technology is constantly rapidly changing and there are so many solutions that are right at the tip of our fingers that you might find is unlocking a whole world or a whole opportunity within your business, or maybe it's going to optimize your business processes. So I think we're very fortunate in the time that we are in to have those opportunities there, even if it's not necessarily in South Africa. I mean, we are not in the same room right now, but we are engaging with each other like we're in the same room. So you
Yes.
may find that your mentors from Germany or Switzerland or Kenya or Namibia, and they've worked on something you're working on. So just getting mentorship, I think staying on top of the growth of technology, the products, the solutions, and finding programs.
I think one of the things is that perhaps there's too much out there, and the big thing also is to know, which tools do I use, which tools do I approach, and I think that's where that mentorship thing comes into play. It's a very interesting thing you mentioned there. Where does one find mentors? Where does one gain mentors? You spoke about networking. Networking
Yeah.
also is one of the major shortfalls of many young entrepreneurs or startups, because they simply don't have a network that they can plug into. How do you go about that? What would your advice be to young people or entrepreneurs? It doesn't have to be young people, but people starting out on that entrepreneur journey. How do you plug into those networks? What has been your experience on that been?
So there are different events. You can really start off by seeing the different types of events that are out there, online, offline, because then you engage. You'll find familiar faces, similar people, similar networks, conferences. If you're really not too sure what your niche is, you can attend all of these different conferences, panel discussions, webinars, and hackathons. Hackathons actually played such a crucial journey in building who I am as an entrepreneur, because how hackathons are structured is they give you a problem, you need to develop a solution, build that solution, pitch that solution, and sell that solution all in a weekend, and that's a lot of what you end up doing in business as well. So I think hackathons are really, really good. Even hackathons, they'll often have sponsors, they'll often have networks. There'll be so much association. This year with G20, there were a lot of G20 focused events, networks, committees, communities on LinkedIn, forums. There's a lot, like what you mentioned, there is a lot. So find your niche and build that bridge of where you want to be, and then you'll be able to kind of focus who's out there. A lot of these networks will already have mentorship opportunities that you can participate, that you can sign up in. People are regularly volunteering to be mentors. A lot of programs already have mentors integrated. Make sure that if you're applying for a program, let it fit what you're looking for, because there is a lot out there. So
Yes.
ensure that I want a mentorship, I want business training. Make sure you know what you want, and then you'll be able to cut the noise and you'll find yourself in all of the right places.
And it all takes work, doesn't it?
Yes.
You can get all the mentorship in the world, you can get all the tools in the world, but if you're not prepared to put the effort and the work into it, you're never going to get off the ground. Tell us a bit about some of those lessons, and perhaps also about shaping the business. How do you shape your business? Because I can almost guarantee what you envisaged about your business in the beginning isn't what it is now. Talk to us a bit about that journey and the effort it takes to get it to that point.
Definitely, because when it comes to being in a program or mentorship, they can be there, but if you have a good mentor, they will make you work. And if you don't do the work, you will feel like you don't have a good mentor. So you have to put in the work, because most of the time, the work they're asking you to do is the work in your business. And once you start working in your business, you'll kind of learn what I don't like, what's not working, who's actually my audience. When I pitch to this demographic, it's not working, but when I pitch this here, it's working completely. So now you even learn how to position your services. And I think the molding, like what you're saying, the business evolved and we had to have more structure. So we had to learn how to position what saturated is and which rooms we are going in and what we're saying we are doing, because then you find that you can have steered conversations that actually result in something tangible, something measurable that you can have. So you have to have goals in your business. You have to see what works, what doesn't work. Don't be afraid to evolve, but also stay within what the business is. So have your company culture. I think we because we're young, we started off like hybrid, remote, physical. So we have like a strange company culture, but it evolved because of how the business came about. And just staying true, core principles of doing hard work, being disciplined, being respectable, acknowledging your mistakes, like just everything that you're supposed to want to strive to do in life. You get to do it in your business, in a system. You get to make it better. You get to grow. You get to look at your financials. If you're not good at something, educate yourself. That's what I like the most. Is if this tool isn't working, don't be afraid to try another tool. Don't be afraid to learn another tool. Don't be afraid. Do a training or do a short certificate, just so that you understand more. And now the next time you engage on something, it starts making a bit more sense as you grow. So just don't have doubt and keep on going, no matter what.
And I think you mentioned something there that's very important. You never stop learning. I think one of the big mistakes that entrepreneurs could get to is you get too comfortable and you think, well, we got this, and you're not learning. The moment you stop learning is the moment you give a gap in the marketplace for somebody else, or you actually lose your edge. And I mean, even an old gray-haired guy like me, I've learned how to create my own podcast on an AI platform.
Yeah.
You know, it's a new skill. It's something I've only done for a relatively short while now, and but something I had to learn from scratch. And you know, this is the thing. Things do change. They do shift. If you're not shifting with them, if you're not equipping yourself to move with those shifts, you're actually leaving yourself behind the market.
Definitely. You couldn't have said it better.
Let's talk about empowering people, and you yourself have come through this fantastic journey of growing and developing as an entrepreneur. Let's talk about empowering other people around you. How many staff do you have, and how do you see that role? I mean, you're a young entrepreneur yourself, but you've got a perspective of saying, well, listen, we've got to bring others along with us. So talk to us a bit about that and what you're doing along those lines.
What I've noticed is empowered people tend to want to empower people. So yes. I feel like I'm someone who's gotten empowered through many opportunities. So that's what kind of drives me and always wants me to always kind of say to someone, okay, but have you tried this? Have you tried that? Let's try this. Because you know, by your own virtue of living, you know that once you're stuck, you're like one step closer to actually greatness. So you kind of have to push yourself past that stuck barrier. And our team has like evolved. We started off as 2. We still have our solid 2, right? And then we were 9. Currently we're 6, but usually we range between 9 to 11, you know, and then we kind of see based on different projects how we work, because we also work with a lot of youth. Sometimes people move on to bigger opportunities or different types of opportunities out there. So we really have like a fundamental like training. We believe in training within the organization, skills, grasping skills, learning something new, using systems, being agile in how we work. So that's why when it comes to our team, we've still been able to maintain a small team because of how we work. Because we started off as 2, then got to 4, then got to 6, and then we got to 9. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on? It took a while for me, actually. I struggled with delegating and being able to kind of replicate myself or replicate a part of me in a system. I had struggled with that because I always wanted to do something, and I saw that that wasn't tangible in the business. And that actually helped grow the business because there was more I was doing without realizing it by delegating or kind of playing a role of teaching and training and getting to see someone's growth and saying, okay, now you can do this, let's do that. And you realize that, okay, you would be spending 5 hours doing something, but you've taught somebody and they're doing it, and now you may be spending 30 minutes checking if it's fine, and then you're moving on, and then you're able to service more clients.
It's not easy,
No.
especially if you've got this is your creation, this is your baby, and you don't want to let anything happen to it. But often along that journey, you realize that it's by allowing other people to grow and even allowing them to make mistakes,
Yeah.
even allowing
Yeah.
them to also fail along the way. As long as they're learning and growing and improving, what you will find then is that those people will become your biggest contributors to your business, because you've allowed them their process of actually growing and learning and even failing. So that is a very important journey. Let's talk about the wider community a bit. So a company doesn't operate in a vacuum. A company operates within ecosystems. Talk to us about how small businesses can create meaningful and a meaningful contribution and a meaningful connection within the wider community, because that's also quite important. What has your experience of that been?
With the wider community, it started with building your network, because that's when I was able to find more people who were in a similar space or had similar interests. And then it grew from there on, because you kind of get to see who you're surrounded by. But it takes a lot of initiative. It must be something that you are actively working on, because it won't grow like that. If you widen your network, you get to see what's out there. You get to engage with other businesses. You get to engage with other people, and you get to even see what expansion opportunities there are in your business and the collaboration opportunities that are there as well in your business. Yeah. Collaboration is very, very important in that sense.
Yeah, that is very key. So, Mamello, where to from here? What is your plan to dominate the tech landscape in Africa over the next 50 years?
I think it's just to grow more and more from here. So what we've been looking at strategically and what we've been implementing is, I see how collaboration is important. So working, let's say we're going into a different region, for example. So kind of having that relationships already there in those networks, working with similar businesses or businesses you can work with, because we find that sometimes people will say these are your competitors, and a lot of the times we find ourselves working with our competitors, selling something. They might be selling something that we are doing, but there's something that they're not doing that they want us to do, and we end up partnering with them, and that's how we get exposed to those other markets. So really just being strategic about it. I think what's nice about digital is we can really just throw the net, look at the analytics, see what works, and target that type of advertising, targeting what we do, being intentional about the events that are there, saying, okay, if I'm going to this event, what am I looking to get? Who am I looking to network with so that the business can grow? But yeah, it's humbling, but it's definitely requires strategic thinking. It's not just going to happen. It needs you to plan and really have an approach towards it.
Yeah. And also learning from what you've done, that becomes very key, and how to improve on that, and what key learnings you've actually picked up in those processes, in those partnerships, in those collaborations. What have you learned about what people out there are looking for, so you can improve your product? So those are all wonderful learnings, and I have to say it's been really amazing chatting to you. Thank you for the time, and I appreciate your honesty and your openness about where you are as a business. And I'm sure that lots of other smaller businesses can take a lot of good lessons from what you and your partner have achieved at Saturated. So Mamello Mofokeng, wishing you every success going forward. And I look forward to seeing some more of your successes in future. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much.